Welcome everybody to the MiniMapCast. This is minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast, your favorite weekly games podcast. My name is Kerry Palmer, and joining me as always is Jeremy Bradatich.
Hello.
Just the two of us this week.
Just the two of us.
It's funny, I knew I was going to say that, and that also popped into my head when I thought that before I said it.
It's like such a great fucking song.
I honestly don't know it that well, but I know that bit.
Oh, you can make it if we try, just the two of us. You and I.
They should have called that game, that Hazelight game, Just the Two of Us, and put that song next to it.
What's the name of that game?
It Takes Two.
Yeah, but that's also a song.
I know, and they used it.
Have you seen, there's this hilarious video. So how familiar are you with Bill Withers as like...
Who?
Okay, so Bill Withers sang Just the Two of Us.
Okay.
And amongst many, many other songs. And it's like such a wonderful, wonderful... he was a wonderful performer. He's got some incredible songs. There's a song called Ain't No Sunshine, which is also a fantastic song. And there's a part of that song where for about a minute and a half, he's just saying like, I know. And he's doing it in like different, and it's all, it feels like, you know, it's that classic jazz thing where it's like, you don't really know if you know what he's doing until he definitely knows what he's doing. And he's pulling it together in a way that's like, fucking, you know, why do you doubt musicians, right? Why do you doubt them when you know they're going to bring it together in the end? But there's this wonderful video of what it would have been like for all of the musicians to hear that for the first time in the recording booth, and all of them looking at each other going like, how many times is he going to say this? And then when he brings it in, they're all like, ah.
They ruin the recording, have to start again. They're like, yes! Never distrust musicians.
No, never. Always trust them.
Never any reason to distrust musicians.
They are the most trustworthy people.
Always. I don't know what that says about me that I went to be one and then didn't make it to being one. Maybe I cannot be trusted. But
Kerry, do you know how to play an instrument?
I know how to play multiple instruments.
That makes you a musician.
No. That means I can be trusted always.
Exactly.
Well, that's a strange icebreaker like we haven't had in a little while, Jeremy. I appreciate that. Thank you. We're going to get into it, everyone. This is the MiniMapCast, minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast. We come and do this every week, and you can get it live on podcast platforms every Wednesday with 24 hours of early access given to all of our wonderful patrons. More on that in a minute. If you like what you're hearing, make sure to give the show a positive rating wherever you listen to us, and to tell your friends. It makes a huge difference, and it only takes a few seconds. If you want to get notified every time a new episode is released, you can follow us on social media. We are at MiniMapAU on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also Twitch, where we are live every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Right now, actually.
Right now.
For the live recording of the MiniMapCast. We always hang out with chat before and after and during the recording of the MiniMapCast. We'd love to see you there. That's the end of that sentence. We wanted to say thank you to Shook for letting us use the Moog Model D Improv for the music for the MiniMapCast. You can listen to more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. And finally, MiniMap is completely independent and funded almost entirely out of our own pockets. So if you'd like to help us keep the mics and lights on, you can support us by becoming one of our patrons. For only $5 a month, you get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, some extra bonus features, and more. So you can head on over to patreon.com/MiniMapAU to help us out. And remember, it's cheaper than a latte with oat milk. Although, Jeremy, I was at a cafe this weekend in Brunswick, I think. And I had like a meal and a drink for $15.
That's ridiculous.
It was amazing.
That is so cheap.
It was so cheap. Like, I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
And it was delicious too.
They are
good.
around. They are around. It's harder to find them, and the closer you are to the city, they are harder and harder to find. There's a pasta joint around the corner of my house, that will do $10 takeaway tubs of pasta. And like they're like just like plastic container tubs. But it was really good, and I went there and there was one left, and it was vegetarian, which was good for me. And the dude sat there, is like, "Hey, like I've only got this one. Is that all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he had like this very thick Italian accent. And I was like, "Okay." Like, and I was like immediately, I'm like, "I know this is gonna be good." And then he was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go heat it up for you." I'm like, "Okay." And then he goes away and he comes back. He's like, "Here you go." And he's like, "It's got but like don't worry about it. You'll be fine." And I'm like, I was like, "Okay."
That's so funny.
Yeah, I had no idea what he was planning on telling me, but I ate it and it was good. So
Yep. Well, Jeremy, we don't have any groundbreaking, earth-shattering news or announcement roundups.
no,
So
but if the wind continues to blow the direction it is, next week probably maybe a Nintendo Direct in between now and next week.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that today. What's the goss on that?
There's just enough people are enough areas of the internet are all talking about the potential of it, from a bunch of retailers being convinced that Persona 3 is going to come to Switch, to some other Nintendo updated their Nintendo Direct webpage, which usually means it's somewhat imminent. There's
seems like a weird thing to do before.
But like it's like they update like a back end part of it, getting ready to add, and it's not like they've changed the webpage, but it's the thing that usually happens prior to the announcement of a new Direct, as well as a few weeks ago. Thank you for reminding me, chat. They did say that the new Mario Kart 8 Booster Course DLC was going to be released by now, which means probably we'll get a Direct with a, hey, this new booster course is out today, go play it.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any like teaser on it or anything. It might slow down. Like they might have hit like a bump, because there were like multiple new courses. There were new characters and new courses in the last wave. So I wonder if they like
in this that last wave isn't out yet. The one with Birdo.
That's not out yet?
No, that's supposed to be out now.
Oh.
Yeah, it was announced and it was
back in Feb.
A bit more recent than that, but like it was supposed to be out by now, and we haven't heard anything. So
yeah,
there you go. And
cool.
and realistically, we have no idea what games are coming out after Pikmin 4, which is in July, and so they will announce, I guess, the games that are going to be leading into the end of the Switch, and maybe we get a tease for hardware, maybe not. I don't know if we'll get that.
They're not likely to do that. The only time I've seen like a really extended hardware tease was when Xbox teased the Series console like a full year before its release, because for some reason they'd locked down what it was going to look like by then.
Yeah, maybe.
Which was weird. Yeah, don't know. So what we're going to do for this week is we're going to be talking about it's sort of our mid-year Game of the Year check-in. It's not a formal declaration. It's just sort of a like how things stand now.
Yeah.
Before going into the second half of the year. Jeremy, when I was putting together like the list of games that I've played that have come out this year, I was stunned by how many heavy hitters there have been. How many games I've truly enjoyed that are new this year that have come out, or at least new to me. Yeah, I didn't want to cut my list down.
Yeah, it's like I was looking at my list and I actually had less exciting games than I felt like I do.
Right.
But the ones that are exciting are really exciting. And so it's like, okay, that kind of, I guess, tracks then. But yeah,
you also play like more games than me in a given time period usually.
Like I haven't played that many. Like I've actually only got a list here of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 from this year.
Mine was 10.
Yeah, like it's like not that many.
And that included Forspoken.
Yeah. And I've got in here Meat Grinder, right? Like, and so like there's like, there hasn't really been that many that I've really latched onto. I've played a lot of demos this year because I've done I've done a couple of conventions. I've done Steam Next Fest. I'm about to do another one. And I played some demos on the PC Gaming Show. And like I feel like I've consumed a lot of games media without even explicitly sitting down and then playing a game that is out and available, which has been really interesting. But yeah, it's been a good year so far. Been a really good year so far.
It's been a really good year so far, and it is looking to be a really good second half of the year as well. I was saying to you before we started the show that I'm like slightly annoyed that Final Fantasy XVI wasn't out yet, so we couldn't like include it in this discussion, which is such a like academic, strange, like arbitrary line of thinking. And I think I pinpointed that it's born more out of my eager anticipation of just playing that game in general, than being frustrated that it wasn't here. But yeah.
It's been like, because I also thought the same thing on the way home from work. I was like, if only we were doing this in like a week. And I was like, but no, like it's not.
No, it doesn't make any sense. We'll talk about it when it comes out for like a whole episode, and we'll also talk about it if it's any good at the end of the year. And
we'll talk about it in the second half of the show when we give our demo impressions. Like we've got Final Fantasy things to say.
Exactly. So I kind of broke my list down as I've got my top 3 and a couple of honorable mentions. Jeremy, is Zelda at the top of your list?
It is at the moment.
Mine too. It's not as far and away clear as I thought it would be. It is clear. It is like I didn't have to think about it.
Yeah, I didn't have to think about it.
It's in good company too.
It is in really good company. I think that looking ahead to the rest of the year, I think there will be games for me personally that will bump it off the top of the list. But those are not out yet, or I haven't actually discovered them yet. Because I haven't found I feel like every year I find some indie game that really grabs me in a way that is like, this is more than just the most interesting big budget game that came out, but this is going to be the one that sticks with me, and I go and buy a vinyl 3 years later. And the game that I talk to someone at a party or at a networking event or something, at some games event, that we're both like, you played this game and I played this game. We are going to become really close for the next 2 hours. Like that kind of like we both get it. Like we're on the level of, oh yeah. Whereas Zelda will probably stay in my top 3.
Yeah.
Because it is truly incredible. But I'm not having that visceral emotional reaction to it like I do with an Outer Wilds, for example.
I'm in that same place right now. And I think it's because we're in the middle of it, right? Neither of us have finished it. Neither of us are I'm also in the middle of a Zelda lull. I haven't picked it up in 7 or 10 days or something like that. And that's fine. I'm happy with that. I kind of enjoy the time when with Breath of the Wild, when it could kind of be a bit more of an everlasting gobstopper, You could come away and go back, and there'd be something new and something exciting, and the way it worked would be a whole other thing. I look forward to the next Saturday that I sit down with it one afternoon and then play until I need to turn the lights on in my house.
Yeah.
But I'm not aching to play it at every second. I think I'd like to finish it by the end of the year in order to have that sort of sense of resolution when we get to that discussion, because I think it is important. That feeling of having explored that world, done all the things, come to a conclusion, had that resolution with it, I think really helps with a game as large as this, when you put a bow on it. Yeah, because with a game that's similarly large, say with Skyrim or the Bethesda RPGs, Witcher was another example where I never finished it. It's like, oh yeah, those are really competent, but I can't think of the arc of the game. But with Breath of the Wild, because I completed it, I could think of how I felt about doing all the shrines, then doing the Divine Beasts in the order I did, and then finishing them all and having most of that done by the time I went to beat Ganon and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like the other examples you gave, like Bethesda RPG, The Witcher, etc., like they are not the Bethesda RPGs kind of, but like the journey you have on there is not nearly as unique of a journey as you do in the Zelda game. So,
Yeah. No, it's a good point.
Yeah.
It's been funny as well in this Zelda lull that I haven't had like as much I haven't had that many memories that really stick with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you're not actually very far through the game.
No, I'm not.
No, you're still early. You just need to play more.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, and I am looking forward to it. It is just this weird moment of like, yeah, it's the best game.
It's fascinating. I think like the biggest reason that it's at the top of my list at the moment is because I'm just in such genuine awe of it across the overall structure of the game with the 3 zones, the new mechanics, all that stuff. It is so sizable without it feeling overwhelming. That I've got a different kind of overwhelming in terms of like, there is so much to consider with that game that it can't. When you see a very expensive video game and it's like, oh, like you can see the budget in this game. It feels heavy and it feels like there's a billion hands all over it. Not in a bad way, but just like you can tell that many people have been working on this game to create this one singular experience. When you play Zelda, you don't get that. It still feels quite intimate and personal, which means you got to stick in there for a really long time and to actually get those moments that are special to you. Even though they are still crafted, you have those moments that you created on your own that no one else will have. You just have to. You got to put the hours in to actually get to those, which it takes a long time to get through those hours because it's a long game and there's a lot of time in between those moments, which kind of makes those moments special because those times in between those moments are still really, really wonderful, which is, I guess, probably why it's at the top of my list. I'm not,
absolutely.
I'm not wading through like mud to get to those wonderful moments. I'm having a blast getting to those incredible times where I do remember it for years to come. It's such a big game,
Yeah, absolutely.
The Witches and the Bethesda RPGs.
It's also surrounded by so much excellence too.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Like just to quickly go back to the example of like the Witches and the Bethesda RPGs, like those finely crafted moments, they are really great, but a lot of them don't super feel organic, or when they are organic, you are not actually doing what is, I guess, like you're not actually furthering anything or progressing anything when you are in Zelda. Its strength is progressing something that is like you being a dickhead in the video game is still even progressing the video game because there's no wrong answer, basically, which is just kind of wild that game exists in the way that it does. It is. I don't understand how they did that. I don't know how they did it. I don't get it.
I can't believe they topped Breath of the Wild. I just cannot understand that they did do it.
I don't know if they
were going to, but like
I don't know if they've topped it for me yet.
Really?
Like I don't like it's not a. I don't think for me I can have a one better than the other thing because they are so intrinsically linked in each other. Because Tears of the Kingdom doesn't exist without Breath of the Wild, and so I can't say that it's better than Breath of the Wild. It's just kind of its own specific type of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fair, and I am surprised that they changed as much as they did while it was also so different. But like I said, I think if I could finish it by the end of the year, I feel like that's enough time spent with it that it is like plenty of time.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Without having to rush it, but also like in a way that means that like I'm not like just spending way too long just roaring it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
for no reason.
And it'll be there when you get back to it, but like you don't have that moment of pure love until you do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating.
So then, Jeremy, what are your honorable mentions then? So Zelda's at the top of both of our lists, as we thought it would be.
Yeah.
What's at the bottom of your top 5 right now?
Bet and Brutal.
Really, that's in your honorables.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It'll get bumped. I know it'll get bumped.
Is that just kind of like it is what it is? Like
kinda. The other games that I've got on here, I either haven't played enough of or I didn't like enough. I didn't like Metroid Prime the more I think about it that much. I think it's fine, but I don't think I'm ever going to play it again.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played enough of the Horizon Forbidden West DLC. I need to play more of Humanity. I'm at least still playing that. Hi-Fi Rush didn't hit for me, really.
No, it didn't.
So yeah, like Bet and Brutal, like cool game, real cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just sick vibes. Love jumping puzzles, like Minecraft jumping puzzles. Had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably go back. I want to get to the top. You
want that Minecraft, Half-Life platforming joy.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that game the other day and how I describe it to someone, and it is a weird mix of like, the Minecraft climbing, but also like Half-Life climbing, which is weird. It's weird. I don't know. It's fascinating. They made a whole game around it.
Yes, yeah, and like it works what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In one of my bottom slots, or rather in the number 5, I guess, on my list is the Hitman Freelancer mode. It's on here because it didn't stick with me too much. It was a toss-up between this and Destiny 2 Lightfall, but at the end of the day, Destiny 2 Lightfall was a bit of like more Destiny 2.
Yeah.
And I did really enjoy it, and I engaged with it in a different way this year, and I think they balanced the game, so it was quite enjoyable to get to max power level and all of that, but like it was just kind of more Destiny 2, and also the campaign wasn't that good.
Yeah, that's kind of also what I've heard, that like it's cool, but it's not the best of the campaigns that they've done, not by a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a shame, because I was really hoping that they were gonna, I don't know, like the vibes of that campaign, those trailers, that zone, all that stuff. I'm like, hell yeah, like this might pull me all the way back in, and the reviews are like, like it's just not that. I'm like,
yeah, that's it.
I was so close to being all the way back in.
I think Strand was fun, but like that, it was fun gameplay wise, and just not the rest of it. But Hitman Freelancer was excellent fun. What a surprise little bonus mode for their trilogy that really helped invigorate and recontextualize their mechanics and their sandbox, which is fascinating the way they've done that. They completely reinvented themselves a bit.
Yeah. And like so smart. Makes a complete amount of sense, right? Like it was an equation that I didn't realize would equal. Like it was like so surprisingly fun, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I care about a lot of the like building up the base sort of stuff. But like as a new way to play Hitman, like I'm all for that. I will love that. So
yeah, it was so fun the way it was good for me as someone who starts those games and doesn't get too far into them historically, to experience more of the games and to be a bit more freeform, and for it to, because one of the things that puts me off from Hitman, when that keeps me from going all the way in, I guess, is that the first playthrough of a level can sometimes be 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Of like casing it and trying something and reloading a save and trying it again and like going back and failing it. And then you've done half of it and then you need to get to the other side of the place. And it's like, oh, I don't want to do the scenarios they've given to me because it feels too hand-holdy. But then you like try to do it yourself and that takes longer because you're doing it yourself. So like there's a weird push and pull there that they just eliminate with this mode. It's just get in, do what you can, get out, and kind of make it up as you go, which is and it's great fun. The stakes are way lower.
But the room to improvise is a little bit higher because there's more stresses on you for like do I use this piece of equipment now or do I save it for the next level or 3 levels from now? Because if I don't find another one between now and then, like what am I going to do? The time to kill is much shorter, but there's different things to manage, right? It's not about like, being really slow and sneaky. It's like, you've got to kind of be efficient.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Yeah, no, it is. And then just above that on my list is Resident Evil 4 Remake.
It's my number
Not in
2.
my top 3.
It's my number 2.
That's your number 2, right? It's funny because I think it is one of maybe the best games from this year, but
I think it's the second best. Sorry, my
number
2.
There are many parts of it that haven't stuck with me, though, I guess. It is like a lot of that game that I remember playing it at the time and thinking, like, it's quite good, and the way the levels are made are interesting, and I like the way they've balanced the economy so that, like, that pitch perfect balance of resource scarcity where it's like you got to use some but you don't want to use too much, and you've used a lot here but they give you a bit more, and all of that kind of, it's classic Resident Evil. But there's also there's a lot of just combat in this game, you know what I mean? It's like just combat. There's like so many stretches of fighting and fighting and fighting that I think bogged me down by the time I got to the end. As it stands, though, it was very fun, like listening to Leon's crappy quips and seeing all of the up-to-date animations for all these old boss characters, like the lake monster and the guy who turns into the ceiling crab. I don't remember what he was called, but the tall guy in the trench coat, and I really started disliking the bosses. Yeah, Gloria las Plagas. That's right. I really started disliking the bosses after that. But yeah, it was such like just fun.
Yeah,
it was just so fun, and that was like the point of it, and that's what it nailed, and that's what it was. Yeah, but you tell me how it's sitting for you.
I think it's perfect.
Perfect.
Like, I have no complaints at all. No notes.
Really?
Yeah, I love the combat. Okay, maybe my one note is that you're shooting a lot of guys towards the final chapter. There's a lot of shooting guys, and it's not that fun. But
I really didn't like the Salazar boss fight.
Oh, I loved every boss. I think.
Did you get stuck on any of them?
Nah. I died maybe once or twice on any of them, but like I didn't get stuck at all.
Yeah, I felt a healthy dose of bullshit in some of those.
Yeah, no, I just like I was just traveling through that story at a like with my foot on the pedal the entire time. I was accelerating through, but like I wasn't, like it wasn't too fast. The world was fucking so fun to be around, like starting off in the small Spanish town, and then going to these castles and the mines throughout, and then it's starting off with just fucked up villages, Europeans, and then then
I know what you mean by that, but that is very strange out of context.
And then then like they get like bugs in their heads and all that stuff, right? And then all of the fucked up like laboratory stuff, and then the ramparts, and your old military old mate guy who you fight with the knives, and that's silly, and then the shooting,
and then your helicopter guy comes along.
So many high moments in that game. and the exploring was really fun. Like
The Ashley section was good too.
Yeah, the Ashley section was great fun. You know how I play video games. I have not wanted to go back and like 100% a video game more this year than it has been in Resident Evil 4. Like,
yeah.
I genuinely was like, what if I just went back again immediately and just started playing it again?
The itch was there for me too.
Played it on harder difficulty. What if I got all the collectibles? What if I 100%ed all these different zones, right? Like, just being in that game was good. For me, it's a perfect video game.
Perfect video game. Goodness me. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Perfect is a stretch for me. But yeah, there were a lot of very just fun moments, like the minecart ride and
oh my god, the minecart
all of
rides.
their anime dialogue and attitude.
Kicking off as two chainsaws pierce the wall Leon is in front of, instead of ducking, kicking off and then doing a backflip away from it. And it rules. It just fucking rules.
Yeah.
Resident Evil is good.
Most times.
More than it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just need to stop making those.
Thanks to its recent iteration.
They just need to stop making those fucking multiplayer ones.
Oh yeah, that was bad with this one, was it? Oh no. No, there was one that came out like 4 months ago that was meant to be a part of 8. That was bad.
Yeah, Reverse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 5 is very racist.
Yes. Yes, it is. On top of being only just fine, apparently.
Yeah, I am so curious if they remake that game, if they're gonna what they're gonna change, because I feel like they need to change that game.
I don't know that they would bother
if they're gonna bother remaking it.
Yeah.
Well, like I hope at this point, like, there's other games they can remake. They need to remake 1 again. I think that would be really exciting. Like the one remake that is out is fantastic, but if they did a 1 remake style,
the 1 remake is almost 20 years old.
I mean, it
came out on GameCube in like 2005.
I know, but it's been brought up again and again. Like it's also, there's a native PS4 version. They need to go to Code Veronica is apparently very, very good, and Resident Evil 0 is also apparently very, very good. So like there are other ones that they can do before they have to dig the well of 5.
Yeah, it's funny because they reintroduced Wesker at the end of Resident Evil 4. Probably just because he just is in Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, that's that story. Yeah.
But like he is the antagonist. He's like the one that you fight in 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, the question becomes like, do they do anything with that? And like he's not in 2 and 3 nearly at all, if at all. But he's in 1. So yeah, like if they got people interested with the ending of 4, then yeah, maybe going to 1, which is sort of like Wesker's origin story as far as it's not, because they in 0 that is actually his origin story, but in terms of his introduction to the franchise, 1 is the place.
And we'll probably get 9 at some point in the next couple of years, and then maybe instead of going through 5 to do Wesker, maybe they just throw Wesker in 9, and they're like, actually, here's the ending to 4 that isn't 5.
Oh, if they
they
like branch the timeline,
like not branch it, but just like ignore 5. Like they can leave it canon if they want. Yeah, and 6. I don't know what happens. I don't know Wesker's fate. Maybe he dies in 6. I've got no idea.
5.
He dies in 5, right? Okay.
Yeah, because he's the final boss.
That's fine. He's a villain. He can come back.
He dies by rocket launcher in a volcano that erupts.
That is cool. They should keep that. They should cherry pick that scene and pop it in 9.
They landed the volcano by like fighting in like a stealth bomber, and then they like fall out of the cargo bay into a volcano.
Such a shame that game is bad in ways that makes me not actually ever going to play it.
Yeah. You could watch a video.
I'll watch a speed run.
Skip when you get bored.
I'll look at GDQ for Resident Evil 5. I think that's maybe
the best way to experience the game's story and cool moments.
Exactly.
Number 3 on my list is one that didn't make yours, Metroid Prime Remastered.
Yeah.
This game does show its age in a lot of ways, but I do appreciate that sort of classic Metroid feel, and I have the part of my enjoyment with this game comes to the vague impressions I had of it when I was very young and didn't recognize what I was looking at yet. When I'd go over to my cousin's place and they were doing something, I'd be like, "Oh, this looks kind of cool. I don't understand what this is." Or like I'd see ads for it, or I would see it in so many places, and now I can understand what all of those moments were, and it feels familiar and fond, even although I didn't get to play it at the time.
I know exactly what you mean, but I liked to imagine that you were like 4 months old and just didn't actually have like the ability to like understand objects yet. And
like my brother was playing it when I was like,
like
still figuring out how to use my thumbs.
Yeah, you know when you like, you ever seen like a toddler watch just Veggie Tales on the TV, and it's just like
I've been a toddler watching Veggie Tales.
But have you seen it?
No.
Right. Okay. Because it's just colors and shapes and sounds, and it's just like that is everything to them. Right.
I remember. It's funny you mentioned it. I remember there was this one time I watched a lot of Aladdin and Lion King out the VCRs when I was a kid.
Yeah.
To the point where like when I watch those now, I hear the familiarity of the sounds because it's like it's so ingrained. But like it was from a time where I wasn't fully recognizing the language yet. Like I could understand words, but when I watched The Lion King, it was more just like the whole thing was music. It was all abstract sound to my head, kind of a thing. And there was one time where I was watching it again and it just clicked for me and I started listening to all of their words. You know, we're like 10 or 15 minutes in. I was just like, they're saying things, you know? And I knew they were saying things, but I was hearing them. Like I was really hearing them.
That's so funny.
Anyway, Metroid Prime, huh?
Yeah.
This game has such a classic feel. And as someone who played Metroid Prime 3 when that came out, this was a very good way to like revisit that franchise, that setting, that series in like its like proto stage, in its like purest form. And you know, you could see the Nintendo DNA in so much of it, like how they had the like SNES hits for each of their Nintendo franchises like Mario and Zelda and Metroid. And then when they had to turn them into 3D, it was like, oh, what's our most popular Zelda game? Let's make that 3D somehow. And that's basically what they did. What's our most popular Metroid game? Let's make it 3D somehow. And they did. Like it is so Super Metroid.
Yeah.
In 3D. And I just don't mind. Like it's just so fun. And I don't know. Part of it, I guess, was because I didn't really have too much friction. I didn't really get lost. I didn't really get hit by any of the harsh checkpoints because the new control scheme really helps you not die, which is great. But yeah, I love the setting. The more and more I play Metroid, the more and more I realize how much I just like it. I just genuinely like Metroid. Samus is fucking so cool. And her suits are always amazing, and the vibe I can fully appreciate that sort of desolate, brooding, silent vibe of these games in a way that I didn't when I was playing 3. In a way I just kind of was like scared of it when I was 12. You know what I mean? Now it's like, oh, this is a thing. The music's awesome. The way the level design wraps around, it's that like. That thing that the first Dark Souls map capitalized on, that Metroidvania kind of wrapping around and being like, oh, that's this section. Let's Metroidvania to like a T, right? And this is one of the first best examples of it in 3D. It's great. I really enjoyed my time with it. I 100%ed that game twice.
There you go. Yeah, I got burned by that game a little bit because I was very much over it by the time I was ready to finish, and then the game told me that no, you are not ready to finish. You need to get these 12 arbitrary things that you haven't been getting. Which like yeah, like I've told this story before. You were there, I was streaming, and I was very ready to stop streaming, and I decided to push through to get to the end, and then I fought Mr. Waternoose from the Monsters Inc. movie. But the like
titular Metroid Prime.
Yeah. Yeah, like I and then I look, I need to give that game credit. A lot of it is really good. And then what it did to me, which is a blessing, is told me to go back and play Metroid Dread, which I did, which is
what it did to you.
Another perfect video game.
Another perfect video game.
Metroid Dread, a perfect video game. One of the best games on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, it's the vibes of Metroid Prime are fucking top, and I will never not say that they are not.
Did you? I can't remember. You played with the narration, didn't you? For some of the cutscenes. It's not. I know it's not many of them. But
I
did you have the narration.
If I did, I don't remember.
Man, the narration was so schlocky.
I don't mind a bit of schlock. Like I'm not.
Yeah, but it gets in the way of the vibe. You know, like it's such like getting Harrison Ford in the booth to add voiceover to Blade Runner. You know, it's like I don't need that. Just let me look at this scary space station. Without you telling me about it.
I don't need it, but I have seen dozens of not very good science fiction films that all start off with narration in a way that I kind of really like. Like, you know, hammy voice actor reading schlocky script before low budget science fiction film is
like it's sort of a trapping of the genre, kind of a.
But like a good one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like one that I'm like, yeah, like it turns out there's a reason a lot of movies do this, and because it's easy to set a tone that way, and it's harder to do it well without. And you know, I don't doubt that Metroid Prime manages to do it without, because it totally does manage to do it without. But it's not I don't think it's like an immediate negative for me. I think it's like, you know, it's a personal preference thing. What was good about the narration is that I asked my good friend Tootie, should I play do I want narration or not or something? And he misread my message and said, yeah, you can tell me how you go with this game. And I said, no. I don't mean as in I'm going to give you my narration. I said, do I want to play with narration? And he's like, oh.
That's so funny.
But he was
Did you give him narration?
He was fully ready for me to give him a play-by-play of the game over Messenger.
I mean, to be fair, we do that on so many things naturally. Do you Sometimes. I assume you do that with Tootie as well.
Yeah. It was very funny.
That's so funny. You ready to experience this through me?
Yeah.
Jeremy, what's your number 3?
Dredge.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That took me a sec because I heard Dread.
Oh no. yeah. I'm just changing the rules on the fly. No. Yeah. No. Dredge is really cool. If you want to know more how I feel about it, read my review.
So my number 2. No.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 9.
Yeah.
It's a really cool. Again, the vibes are really there, and the length is perfect. It's got a bit of a lackluster ending, but overall the mechanics are good. The gameplay is solid. The art style is really nice, and it's just like an overall like really good time. I wish the ending was better, but like that's sort of it. Like overall, it's like a really fucking solid game.
How long did you spend with it?
8 hours.
Really? I thought it was longer than that.
Maybe it was long. I don't know. It's been a minute. I can double check.
Fair enough.
Maybe it was like 10. I feel like I remember thinking it was going to be longer, but only because I expected the final chapter to be quite a long time, but it was like really quite short. Dredge playtime, is it going to tell me? No, it isn't. I don't know, but between 8 and 10 hours, I think. Yeah.
That seems pretty good.
I would recommend you play that game if you get a chance. It's really good, and if you enjoy the inventory in Resident Evil, which who doesn't? It's really fun. There's a whole fishing game with that.
You know, it's funny. There's been a sort of kick on of like a bit of a semi-renaissance of indie games designed around that mechanic that like bring it front and center. Like there was some roguelike that Northern I was playing that was just that. Like it was all about increasing your bag size so you could fit more and you couldn't hold more than you could carry, and like I don't think I get it that much.
Really?
You know, I don't think I get it in like a give me its own game kind of a way. Yeah.
A question, which this might just not work as a potential through line for this.
I feel I'm wondering if you're going to ask a certain thing. I'll ask what you're going to ask.
How much do you like Tetris?
I knew you were going to ask that. Decently, yeah. No, I like Tetris.
Okay, but do you play like? Oh no, I played 5 hours of Tetris. Like, do you do that?
No.
Right.
I played.
Have you ever experienced the Tetris effect?
No, not really.
Okay.
I liked watching people play Tetris 99 when that was big. That was really fun to watch. And honestly, the most time I've spent with Tetris was I think it was called Tetris Blast, which is the Tetris game on Facebook. But I actually played that a lot when I was in like year 7, year 8, and like getting to know people in my class playing Tetris in like the afternoons when we came home. That was the like multiplayer, like it had like 5 different modes and you could like try and get a better score than the other one. And like,
nothing wrong with that.
That was where I've spent the vast majority of my time with Tetris.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. Tetris Effect really didn't do it for me. They kept grading me.
That's right.
I didn't remember that until I said it. Until I started talking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I didn't like it.
Tetris Effect is also another perfect video game. Just like to point that out. And that is a 10 if I've ever played a 10.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4. I kept doing those shooting range missions and they kept grading me. Yeah,
It's so funny how much you get put off by just like a simple grade. And like, you know what's even funnier is that
I actually didn't mind it in the Resident Evil shooting range.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, if they gave you like a grade in Final Fantasy VII, you'd probably be like, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna do that again until I get fucking S rank.
Maybe. You know, there's a thing that happens. What's the game that did it most recently where it's like, I think I was either playing Persona or no, it happens in Final Fantasy VII Remake, where, you know, when you finish a combat encounter and someone will be like, oh, I have to do better, as in like, player, you got fucked up by that, and the game is now going to tell you that you sucked. Like, yeah, I don't need that.
Oh, okay, I feel like
the only time I appreciate that is when I'm already thinking it, in which case I'm like, yeah, you're right, I did suck. And if I'm at that point already, then like my mood is already sour, and like I don't need that reinforced.
So what I will say about 7, I think those voice lines were actually broken, because they would say lines that were not accurate to the fight I was just in often. I feel like I remember, like, I would get hit maybe once in a giant fight, and I would come out of it and Cloud would be like, ugh, well, that was a waste, or like, oh, that wasn't very good or something. And I remember thinking like, what do you mean? like we just killed like a battalion.
Having gone through hard mode, like I think I got to understand what they determined as good and bad. Like, because I think I got brought up to the standard that they made that for,
right?
Which is pretty unforgiving in hard mode.
Yeah,
like if any of your characters go into the red, that's like that's bad, because then you have to spend mana to heal because you don't have items and mana's limited, and you don't want to do that in hard mode.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a whole other thing. What were we talking about?
Well, we were just talking about like grading, and we're talking about Tetris
grading,
effect and
Tetris, and Dredge. There we go.
You good?
I hadn't realized how far off track we'd gotten.
Oh yeah.
it all felt so logical.
Yeah, this is the check-in subject. This is not like
Oh yeah, no, I'm not bothered. I was just taken aback.
This is not a heavy-duty topic.
No, it's not. It's not. All right, Jeremy, you ready for my final game, my number 2? Any guesses?
It's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars Jedi Survivor, everybody. And why is it this game that got above Resident Evil or Metroid Prime or Hitman? Honestly, I think Resident Evil might be better made than this game.
I messed up my list, but we'll just move on. I'll just talk to Star Wars.
Is yours completely invalid?
No, but like I forgot that Star Wars was my number 3 and Dredge was my number 4, but that's because I forgot Star Wars existed, so maybe I'm just going to swap those two.
What?
Yeah.
You forgot it existed?
Yeah, I completely forgot. Like I wrote it down, I just forgot to give it a number.
Hey, let's talk about Star Wars then, both of us.
Let's talk about it.
Wait, so what was your number 5 then that shouldn't have been?
No. Brett and Brutal was number 5. And Dredge was 4. Star Wars was 3. Resident Evil.
And
Zelda.
Resident Evil was 2. Oh, did we just skip it?
Yeah, I think we just skipped it.
Okay. I thought we freeballed it a bit. Oh, well.
Anyway.
Anyway,
We did.
we did, and it's fine.
It's fine.
That's so funny. Hey, Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
I think that Resident Evil 4 might be like a better made game than Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
I think
but
everyone would agree
Survivor
considering how Survivor launched, but
I mean, I remember I was one of the few people who played it pre-patch. It was bad.
Yeah.
I had to deal with that whole, like, I don't know if my save's going to get corrupted once it updates.
Yeah.
Situation.
I mean, not that you can judge it on that, though.
No, well, that's the thing, right? But what I was fascinated by with the discourse with Survivor was how many people continued to enjoy it despite its performance issues.
Yeah, I did too.
Because the performance issues were they were, none of them are game breaking enough to pull you far enough away from the overall enjoyment of the game. You know what I mean? Like the ones that were there were niggles, and they did bring it down a bit, but it was only a bit, and the rest of the game could still sing through it.
Yeah, there were moments where I'm like, this is like borderline unacceptable low frame rate.
Yes. And
that, I think, means that for me personally, I could never put it
Game of the year.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, it was never going to be Game of the Year for me anyway, in any year. But, like, I think that, like, there were moments where I'm like, this shouldn't have, like, this needs 6 more months or something.
Yeah.
And I wish it had that.
And in the lead up to the game coming out, I heard a number of people talk about how the first game launched in a similar state like that, which I had completely forgotten, which was very upsetting to see it happen a second time. It's like, all right, guys, don't do this again. You got to give them more runway, especially because this game wasn't like formally announced until December last year. And then they gave it a 3-month away release date, which they didn't hit, and they had to postpone it. And then when it came out, it was too early. Like they didn't have to push it. They didn't have to push it out.
Yeah, we don't know why it got pushed out in the state that it was in. They are still updating it. There's a patch that went live like yesterday or something that is working on some stuff. It hasn't fixed the frame rate. I don't think it is going to fix the frame rate because I think
I've heard some people say that's an engine issue, like an Unreal 4 struggling with open world issue.
Well, that and the ray tracing, right? Like ray tracing is
on by default,
always on. You can't turn it off, which is like just look. Anyway, like I think that like there's a lot of things that I just if the frames were smoother, then the gameplay would have felt smoother for me, but like the frame rate being low means that I'm seeing those edges in that gameplay, and I never loved that gameplay in the first one. I like it more in this one, but it was still not like, it still felt not finished to me. There was just like a bit of like, I just needed like a bit more of the edges smoothed over. There's just too much friction there in moments where there shouldn't be friction is the thing.
Just needed a couple more once-overs.
Yeah. Give it
Needed the twice-over.
Yeah, like maybe even a 3 times over.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
and then it would have been good.
Yeah, another set of eyes, all of those phrases.
Yeah, then they would have fit right in the cantina.
That being said, I think that the story got really good by the end.
It really did. And it did something really fun and interesting with it.
Yeah, and I saw, there are twists and turns in this story that, at least for me, were signposted minutes into the beginning of the story. Like, I called almost everything in the game, but I didn't mind. I didn't mind at all. I had a very good time.
Yeah, this game is kind of like... It's kind of like the definition of like the journey along the way, like the friends you make along the way. Like it's kind of like that's the point of the story, and that's okay. That's
better than a reveal that is surprising at once and then really lame later. I was talking to you. I was talking to you about this the other day about like how like I always prefer stories that I can know everything going in and still love it, as opposed to. If a story requires me to not know what is going to happen for me to enjoy it, then I don't think it's that good. If like you think about movies with like a really intense twist ending, right? The best ones are the ones that have those intense twist endings, but still are really enjoyable on rewatch, like Memento or like Seven or whatever. This game, I think, has that. Like, I would like to revisit that story again. I would love to go through that with those characters again. There was a lot of really enjoyable, like Star Wars juice. Like Empire Strikes Back isn't incredible because you find out that Darth Vader is Luke's father. It's incredible because the entire story is incredible, and that one moment is like an elevated moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
There you go. I compared Jedi Survivor to Empire.
Yeah, you're right. That's huge.
Yeah, like it's not they're different, but like it's got similar good things about it.
Yeah. I just loved killing droids in this game, man. Like
they got to kill.
That they nailed the Jedi fantasy in this. In terms of how it feels to be wielding a lightsaber and taking people out, but it being difficult, but like not too hard, and you are powerful, but other things are also powerful. Like I never really enjoyed Disco Elysium that much. Sorry, did I just say Disco Elysium?
You did.
The reason why is because I just had a Steam thing come up in my corner that said that. What I meant was Star Wars The Force Unleashed, everybody.
I was going to go, where the fuck is this going?
I do really like Disco Elysium, and that's completely irrelevant to this discussion. I'm going to close Steam.
What was going like? How are you going to wrap in Disco Elysium into your feelings on Star Wars Jedi Survivor? Holy shit! I'm really sad we're not going to get that. I was really excited for whatever that was going to be. Holy shit.
I love that you just don't hear what Cal's thinking in this game compared to Disco Elysium.
Oh, fuck.
Sorry to get your hopes up.
Oh, man, I got really excited for a moment.
So Star Wars Jedi Survivor really nailed the Jedi fantasy in a way that I don't think The Force Unleashed ever did.
Yeah, you were Sith in that game. Pew, pew, pew.
What I mean by that is like the way it feels to wield a lightsaber and the way the Force powers feel. Like each individual, I guess, is given weight. They're not like confetti for your might.
Sure.
And they can become that when you become stronger, but like you have to respect them and learn what they are good at and strong at. Like a stormtrooper can take a Jedi down in the universe. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. And it can happen in this game. It feels like a Jedi has to work to take down a dangerous monster because they're still dangerous. It's just they're skilled and they have to use those skills.
Yeah.
And put their necks on the line. It isn't effortless. And that balance of seeing Cal do the things he does, but fighting to make sure it happens is really like I'm impressed that they nailed that.
Yeah.
In a way that you don't get in the first game because you spend so long like being like inept, like being so young, being so fresh, so new.
Yeah, and like the level design in the first one is like good to poor. Like there's like a really wide range of like there are some areas which are actually quite good and some areas which are really not very good at all.
And some areas that are okay, but they're like overlong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like unfortunate Uncharted-esque sections in those levels that don't do any part of the game a favor. Whereas in this, there's really smart level design, really efficient level design, and abilities which complement the level design as well. Like it's basically a Metroidvania in that regard as well. Like it is like, abilities and like green jump unlocks green door and red pushes red. It's all that kind of Metroidvania style thing. But
let me tell you, it's great.
Yeah, like there's a reason it keeps coming up, and turns out it's good. Like it's like a really solid way to do things, and this was another one.
And they had some incredible moments too. Like there's that whole scene where you learn the air dash on Jeddah with Merrin, and there's the giant spider drill thing that you have to escape and then take down. Like that's an all-time like cinematic set piece kind of moment for the last 3 or 4 years in terms of set pieces. It's really, really good.
And they did the worst thing about the first game again in this game, and it ruled. like that's really exciting.
I'm going to need you to expound.
A character shows up.
Yes, they did. And it felt earned this time. It felt good.
I remember like when I realized it was happening, I was like, oh, you must be fucking kidding me. And then a few minutes later, I'm like,
the door opened and you were like there for it, right? And I was in the same boat.
I was like, actually, you know what? Like you did it. Like you earned this. Props to you.
Yeah, I didn't like it the first time, but let's recognize that the first time happened and build on it.
Yeah.
And like move forward from We got to do that. We got to do that mini disc on this game at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love being a Jedi in this game.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go back to it. I don't think. I would like.
It's uninstalled on my system sooner than I would have liked, though. Mostly just because it's like 150 gigabytes.
Yeah, like
I would have left it installed a bit longer otherwise.
I think the stuff that's left for me is shaky and not as fun as the story, I guess, to the point that I'm like, actually, like I don't need it. Yeah, like
whereas I have done so much side stuff and would happily do more of it.
Well, like it's more like, like I want to do more fights that are really enjoyable to do, but a lot of the fights that are left me to do are really not enjoyable at all because realistically the fights are too difficult for the actual game to function. The double Ogdo Bogdo fight is a thing that I would be able to manage in a version of this game that allows for 2 Ogdo Bogdos to fight at once. But did
you have frame rate stutters with the double Ogdo fight?
No. I mean, as in terms of like that fight is bugged in a way that like you can just die.
Right.
Like
yes.
there are many double hits from Ogdo that can turn into quadruple hits, and there is not enough health in the game for you to avoid it, to the point that I didn't actually...
Don't even get me started on Bogdo.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently there's a double Rancor fight in like one of those meditation chambers as well. That's apparently very similar.
Sorry, that's actually what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Because I did the Ogdo fight and it was a pain, but I did it.
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm talking about the double Rancor. Yeah,
I've heard that it's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, like it is like each of them have an impossible to dodge insta kill move that you can be really, really far away from, and it'll teleport you to the hand, which just causes you get it's like really not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough. There's plenty of other stuff though. Cool, like hidden cool areas that like have their own kind of story as you explore them.
Yeah,
but they're just like side areas.
I enjoyed that
like,
stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, everyone. That's our check-in. What a completely stacked year.
What's the one game you're looking forward to this year?
I'm so past ready for Final Fantasy 16.
Are you more excited?
Stick it in me. Put it in my veins.
You have the ability right now, Kerry Palmer.
Call me Clive.
You have the ability right now, Kerry Palmer, to have one disc in your hand with a video game on it. Do you choose Final Fantasy 16 or do you choose Final Fantasy 7-2?
Oh man. Hang on.
I know they got pushed to next year, but I'm still asking.
It did get pushed to next year, but I'll stay with you for a minute if I can. It would have to be 7 Rebirth. It would have to be.
Right.
It would have to be. Like, I like what I've played of 16 so far, and I'm excited to see the depth of that game as they give it to you more as you play more of it. But like, I'm so excited for 7 Rebirth. I'm so excited. Like we were talking about it last week, how I couldn't stop grinning watching that trailer.
Yeah.
Like what I did this week was I reinstalled Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
I finally beat Weiss, which is the one optional boss for the main game that they added with the DLC, who's just such a bastard. Like, he doesn't take any health damage. You have to stagger him, and then he doesn't stay staggered for that long. So it's all about doing like burst damage. It's like a Final Fantasy puzzle, you know?
Yeah.
In a way that they always are, but like.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I finally did that, and played a couple of chapters again, which was really fun. What else? There was something else I did, and then I started watching cutscenes from Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion, to like remember a bit more of the like backstory from that game when it came out like 6 months ago. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
That said, Final Fantasy 16 is 3 days away.
And we'll talk more about it
now.
Talk more about it in the second half of the show. My most anticipated game for this year, Kerry, is not at all what you're expecting.
Okay.
It's actually
Persona 5 Tactica.
No. It's actually Star Wars Outlaws.
That's not this year.
Oh, is it not? I thought it was really late this year.
No, it got a window for 24.
Oh, okay. All right. In that case, that's
Avatar is really late this year.
That's right. I watched both trailers back to back, and in my mind, I think
they're both made by Massive.
That's actually exactly why, because I was like, what the fuck are they doing?
And they both got announced this. Well, they both finally got shown off properly this year.
Yeah.
Outlaws is a strong contender, though. It does look good.
It looks really good. In that case, my weirdly most anticipated game for this year, like 16's up there, but like I kind of want to play like a lot of Lies of P.
You kind of want to
I really want to play a lot of that game.
Did you finish the demo?
No, I didn't finish it yet. But I'm also kind of waiting. Like, I'm happy to wait just to do like.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to replaying that
right
section again.
Yeah, like, and that was kind of thing. It's like anyway, we'll get to it. We'll get there.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We've gone over long on this first segment. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit about Diablo 4 and a whole lot about Final Fantasy XVI's demo. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. We've been talking about nothing over the break. Oh no, we were comparing Xbox controllers because Jeremy got the Starfield limited edition controller, which looks excellent.
Head to the MiniMap TikTok for an unboxing.
I was just about to do that, but you did it. Now I don't have to. Is that what brand synergy is?
I don't know.
I don't think it is.
We'll figure it out.
Why don't we say it is? And then we'll sound smart.
I don't think that's brand synergy. I think it's just plugging.
Like a cable.
Like a Playgirl. Like a...
Gloria las Plagas.
Yeah, God. Jesus. Where do you want to start?
Man, what are we doing here? We're talking about the games we played this
Yeah.
week. I'm talking about Diablo IV, but honestly, it's not that much. I beat the story of the game. And I'm fascinated with this Diablo story. Everyone keep in mind, I haven't played any other Diablo game ever, so I don't know what it's like compared to the others. But playing this, and it's all about, welcome to hell and all of that campaign stuff. You see Lilith, the mother of sanctuary, the daughter of hatred, the big demon lady. That's all of their marketing campaign. And I thought this was going to be a game of like epic scale, but the story is actually very grounded and focused. It's all about this group of like 5 or 6 individuals and like their pasts and how other people know each other and knew each other compared to these people and how they come together to try and stop Lilith together, which I found quite fascinating. Because it wasn't that grand scale. I mean, it kind of got there in the end. Like the end is sort of a march on the gates of hell. And Jeremy, what have you done?
Nothing. I accidentally minimized your camera for a sec, so you froze. But then you said the word grand scale, and my mind immediately went to the Italian furniture store in Melbourne who says "Gran sale" every time he does his ads, being one Franco Cozzo.
Franco Cozzo.
Yeah, just him talking about Diablo, and it's grand scale, just kind of like. Hey, there's one for you, Melbourne.
Man, that's funny. That's so funny.
Just having a time here over on the 1s and 2s. Sorry, please continue talking.
All right, so there's this big scale battle towards the end of the game where you're sort of marching on the gates of hell, and you like it kind of gets as big as it gets eventually. But it at the end of the day, it's really quite a compact, tight, more intimate kind of story. It's more about you getting to know the characters that you're rolling with, and I appreciated that at the end of the day. Like there's this character you meet in the start if you've played the beta, Lorath, who's just kind of this like hermit in a hut who you like bump into, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, you're in trouble. All right, He's been living on his own for a while. He's like, "All right, let's go to the main city. You go talk to the church. I'm going to go find out other stuff you saw in your vision. Blah blah blah." But he's in the game a lot.
Yeah, right.
He's in the game a lot. Excellent voice. I gotta look up the guy's voice actor name. Lorath, voice actor. He was in Game of Thrones, but as like one of the Ralph Ineson. Right. He's got an absolutely terrific voice. It is like very standout. Like I think people hire him for his voice and then he does his voice. Like it's quite singular. Cool. It's not like a Nolan North Troy Baker situation where they can be like kind of varied or they can be kind of like like he's got quite a singular voice and I love it and I want to hear more of it and I'm happy every time I hear it. But yeah, I got to the end of the game and it was cool. I'm glad I played it. It didn't blow the doors off for me. It didn't like knock my socks off. But yeah, I'm glad I did it. I had this interesting. Sorry,
are you going to keep playing for fun, or you sort of
for fun? Yes, maybe. So something to keep in mind. I am playing for work. When I played in pre-release, I was playing as a sorcerer, and since release, I'm playing as a barbarian, so I can make a barbarian build guide for the site I'm working for. And I don't like playing as the barbarian as much as I like playing as a sorcerer, which I was reminded of when I saw our site's sorcerer guide today to figure out how to start tabulating my own, now that I finally got to the point where I can make a build guide. And I'm looking at this like good build of a sorcerer, and I'm like, fuck, man. I want to do that. And like it's fine. It's not a big problem. And I am finding my own fun with the barbarian, but what my time with it today was all about finding a way to make a build for the barbarian that was fun, and that I'm also trying to make something that isn't just there's a whirlwind ability that the barbarian has where they just spin around in a circle, and there are apparently some bonus like legendary aspects you can get for that make it completely overpowered.
Right.
And it in a kind of almost like nefarious amount of overpoweredness. So I'm trying to steer away from that because that'll probably get like re-nerfed. It's already been nerfed once. So like I'm trying to steer away from that. And I've spent so much today just like spending like 10 minutes rearranging all of my skill points, spending all my money, trying to figure out, if I do a bleed build and then I want this and I need a bit of defensive, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And rolling into a dungeon and getting absolutely steamrolled and just putting my head in my hands. Like, how do I make you fun?
Yeah.
Because like the way I got through, I had this build that seemed decent to go through with the campaign. I had this like leaping strike attack and this like put your hammer in the ground and swipe it along the floor and it makes this like shockwave attack, and that was awesome. And this like ground stomp and this like death blow attack and this ultimate, and it all worked and I liked it. And it got me through the whole campaign. And then I got to the like level 50, like you have to complete this dungeon at level 50 to unlock the next difficulty dungeon. And I was like hard limited at the final boss, just completely stuck on it. So I had to rethink my build because it just wasn't survivable enough for the, like, they call it the capstone dungeon. And so, yeah, from that moment on, it's been very much like how do I make this work? It's such a puzzle. And I know there's an answer in there. I know I can find something, but it's like, I've got to go digging for it. I've got to go mining for this golden path for this class. And I think I got most of the way there today, but like there was a good couple of hours of like, like, do I need to give up? Like, does this need to be over? So yeah, that's just been my time with it recently. And the reason I mentioned the sorcerer, if I do go back to play it for fun, I will be starting a new character as a sorcerer. I want to play high level sorcerer gameplay.
Right.
And it's easier to start a new character once you've beat the story. Apparently, you can just completely bypass it and like speed level after that.
Correct. Cool.
Cool. So yeah, if I couldn't do that and I had to do the whole story again, I probably wouldn't.
Right. Fair enough.
It's not in my top 5.
There you go.
Yeah. When did the Final Fantasy XVI demo come out? It was just last week, wasn't it?
It was like 24 hours after that Final Fantasy XVI event.
Right, which was like the day after Xbox?
It was the day of Xbox because I watched it and that was the event that I fell asleep in.
Right, okay. Yeah, so it's been out for most of a week now.
Yeah.
We've both played it.
Yeah, both finished it.
Yeah. It's how much spoiler town do we want to go into for here? Because for those who don't know, this is just like the start of the game. It's like the prologue.
Yeah. We should just.
And
talk
there
about
are some story revelations in it. If you watch the first trailer, I kind of pieced together what would happen. Like I remember watching it and being like, I remember playing the demo and being like, wow, that was a really like effective, like intense, like kind of bunch of story they put there. And man, was that all in the first trailer.
Yeah, if it's in the demo, if it's in the trailer, it's not a spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, for people who haven't seen it, it would be. I guess for those who really care and who are completely shy of it, like, here's your warning.
Yeah, just go play the demo or watch it. Like, it's like it's not we're not putting episodes on a TV show. We're not putting episodes of spoilers of a TV show episode on the timeline. It's like it's been a week and it's 3 hours.
And also, like, it's the start of the game. Like, it's not a spoiler for something that happens later. Like, it's just from the very beginning of the game for 2 hours, and then like
there's no spoilers in the demo.
No,
it's
something
it's
to point out is that the story progress that you make in the demo gets saved. So when you start the game, you'll pick up from where you left off in the demo, which is excellent.
Yeah, which is good because I remember I was thinking a little bit as I was playing this, like, I'm glad I don't have to do this part again. Thinking about the Final Fantasy VII remake demo, like I was happy to do that section again because I think it's a really fucking strong section because the beginning of that game is like just
action,
top tier, like wonderful stuff.
It's also shorter.
It is shorter, and there's like a definite start and end, whereas in this, it's sort of like I actually didn't know when it was going to stop. This was like, this felt very like, here's the beginning of a Final Fantasy game. we've ripped like the first 2 levels out and just and released them as a single image that you can download and play. Like warts and all. In a way that's like kind of weird and a little bit awkward as a demo. But still good.
Yeah, it is good, and it's a different style for Final Fantasy. Like, let's say the thing now. This introduction is just Game of Thrones. Like,
yeah,
so clearly Game of Thrones, and I didn't mind that necessarily.
Yeah,
that's not a criticism in and of itself. And it made me think about, okay, so it's been 12-ish years since the first season of the show. So it's been a while, and actually it's been actually so long since we've had a fantasy set Final Fantasy game that like it's kind of their first opportunity to do something like this in this setting with that kind of story, with all of the like the kingdoms and the swords and the magic and the crystals, like kind of, this isn't Road Trip the game. This isn't in Final Fantasy 14 it's a bit more fantastic.
Well, I was going to say, like, I think you are excluding 14 from that conversation, because 14 is very much that, like, there are airships and stuff, but like,
I mean, there's always airships, but like it's always grounded in the setting.
Yeah. Like 14 is much more traditional to the fantasy roots of Final Fantasy, as opposed to like 12, 7, 13 being like a bit more technologically advanced fantasy.
Yeah,
science fiction
10 as
fantasy.
well.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, there you go.
And the thing with 14 is it's far less cinematic than something like 16. Like the thing about this intro that you see is there's so many cutscenes, like so many.
Yeah.
And like I was there for it. Like I was eating it all up. I was in it. But like you don't get that in 14.
No, like there are cutscenes, but yeah, like it's an MMO game. Like you've got dozens of grinding quests in between cutscenes. And when they're there, they're good. And you've got like cutscenes in dungeons and stuff. It's a very different style of game. 16 is interesting. I think a lot of it is really good, and I'm actually kind of worried about part of it. I think the combat,
What?
like the combat is really good, and I don't mind the world that much. Like some people are kind of getting put off by like the grimdark like aspect of this world. I don't mind it. Like I just kind of I enjoy that space.
Yeah, and like I appreciate they've chosen that path and they're walking it. You know what I mean?
It's fine.
I also like reading books like that. Like I
enjoy that area of fantasy as well. But I don't know about some of these characters yet, and it's early, but I don't know about some of these characters yet. I don't know about some of these decisions in this story yet, and I don't love some of the gender stuff in this game. That is like kind of like, look, I kind of just I'm worried that I don't trust this game for that not to be an issue all the way through.
Oh, and I think that's totally fair. I mean, there's been that publicity about how they were like, oh, we're doing this as a historically accurate game so that we haven't put like black people in it. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Bad
comments on bad decisions there.
Yeah. And like, if that's how they feel about race, you're right. What do they do when it comes to gender? We don't know yet, and it is not promising.
And there was just an NPC in Final Fantasy XVI, the demo, called like the Slave Master, who was just watching his slave do work. And I was like, And Clive our main protagonist walked up to him and was like, what are you doing or whatever, and he told Clive what he was doing, which was, I'm getting my slave to fill the well with his magic so I don't have to use mine or whatever. And I was like, and Clive was like, okay. And I'm like, all right, if you say so.
Yeah, it's a bit intense, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not saying like, like you can have themes like that in your games, in your media, in your stories. And it's early part of a game, so hopefully they wrap it around, but it doesn't fill me with confidence that some of these themes are going to be handled with the correct amount of touch and care. That has made me go like, ooh, oh no.
Yeah. I mean, I had my reservations about Final Fantasy VII Remake when it came out. Like, there are a lot of sexist tropes that are a part of that game. And whether it's because they were part of the original or because they decided to double down on it in the modern day, like that is the case. And it's kind of, we're working with similar creatives. I'm sure there are some, teams that are shared, but it's also like the creative vision for all the Final Fantasy games is directed by the same people at the end of the day at the top. Like, this is what Square Enix wants. And this is the style of game that they're happy with. And yeah, it is concerning when it comes to this stuff. And
like, I think at least in 7, there was a lot of power behind some of that stuff. I never felt like, the ridiculous outfit that Tifa wears, she was not a ridiculous character at the very least. And some of the changes they made for 7 with, the cross-dressing sections and stuff, in the remake was fucking a million times better than what it was in the original game.
Yeah,
and so
that's a good point.
they have not goodwill, but they have the ability to look at that stuff and know how to handle stuff like that is not like immediately trapping in terms of like genre trappings. But this, I don't know, there wasn't a whole lot of like in-universe criticizing of bad things immediately yet. And like, again, you don't need that to point out it's bad. But it is you can't make your good guy good while these bad things are happening. You can make him a bad guy, and that's a route you can take. But
like, he's complicit.
Yeah,
sort of
you have to understand that he would be complicit in these things.
Born into wealth and benefiting from their, what are they? They're branded, right? The people with the tattoos.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where the story goes with a lot of that stuff. Because there seems to be at least some sort of twist of rejection of heritage or rejection of lineage in some of that, understanding, that Clive is branded now but wasn't all that sort of stuff. But like I am curious to see how well they handle like the thing that I always go back to, which is, again, it's always Star Wars, the Jedi refusing to engage with stopping slavery at any point in the entirety of episodes 1, 2, and 3. I'm sorry, Anakin, but your mother can't come with us. I can't free these slaves. And Anakin, for the entirety of the second movie, being like, I want to free the slaves. And the Jedi are like, we're not doing that right now.
No.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, these are not the good guys. These are just the powerful guys.
Or like the other droids wanting to stay.
Yeah,
in servitude for the rest of their lives on Jack Black's planet.
Yeah, in that exactly, like same sort of thing, right? I'm curious to see how they handle it, but it doesn't immediately fill me with confidence that they're going to handle some of these things well, and that makes me worried.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Something I've felt with this opening, like, sort of prologue section, like, it feels fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it moves at a clip, and I was torn between, it was good pacing that I never felt dragged down at any point, at the same time, I wanted to know more. I kind of wish we'd got like maybe the cutscenes are just a bit more discussion, or like they fleshed a couple of things out a bit more, or
It was
there were
awkward
maybe
discussion.
a couple of different character interactions that didn't have the chance to happen. Like maybe, oh, this character could talk to this character about this thing in this section, maybe. But like it kind of moves a bit too fast for any of that. Like, so we just kind of get a good amount of what we need, and then we have to move on. And it was a weird pull because I didn't know how else to do it in my head. Like, it was like, oh, I want more, but then I might have gotten bored. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because it like there's a lot of characters that get introduced to you very quickly, and
like nouns.
Yeah,
like Rosalith and flame shields and
that was the thing that also surprised me, that it wasn't just it, and like there was a lot of scenes with a lot of characters talking about a lot of things that weren't character driven scenes, but were like world faction driven scenes. They were about armies and histories and battles, and it reminded me of like the Silmarillion a little bit, where I'm like sort of getting inundated with information. Unlike Lord of the Rings, which is about like, you know, the people and how they care about the thing that's going on right now. I do hope that we get character moments that allow that stuff to breathe. But like at the beginning, like there's a lot of things that happen in that demo that I don't actually know. I didn't understand what was going on.
Like it just kind of washes over you.
Yeah.
Did at any point did you hold the touchpad?
No.
So
I mean, no, like I did it once and then I saw the fucking PlayStation Vita bubbles menu, and then I closed that.
Do you remember what that menu is called, Jeremy? Because it made me guffaw.
No, I don't. Do you?
It's called Active Time Law.
That's it. You ever hear a phrase that just makes you immediately go to sleep?
It's so funny.
Active time law.
Nothing like what active time battle means in
no,
the game.
No.
It's so silly.
It's the storytelling equivalent for the ATV.
Like, why did they call it that?
I don't know.
But the thing with
turn-based storytelling.
Yeah. The thing with the active time law was that it was really good for being like, who's this character? Like,
sure.
Because it wasn't even like, who's this character again? Because like it didn't really get that far. But it was like, oh, who's this character? Oh, so this is the Lord Commander. So like,
yeah,
he's training Clive, but he's also like got to protect the king. Okay. Like I think, and it dynamically telling you, like, giving you the options to look at like the people and the places that are relevant just in that moment in that scene, is actually really good. I want to see that in more games, especially if they're going to be this convoluted. I'm glad to see it here. It seems like a very useful thing. But yeah, I'd love to ask you how you felt about the combat. Not that, honestly, going through the demo, I don't really feel like there's that much of it. But how did you feel about it?
Like it was good. It was Final Fantasy VII adjacent. It's not they're not rediscovering how to do Final Fantasy real time character action combat anymore. Like, they've got this is what it's probably just going to be for a good long while.
Yeah, it took them long enough.
Yeah, it's an evolution of 15 and then 7 with a sprinkling of Kingdom Hearts in there. There's no mana bar is interesting. Yeah,
it's just like ability recharge.
Yeah. Is it the first time there's not been a mana bar in Final Fantasy?
Yeah, you had it in 15. It's there in 7 Remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got it in 13. I think.
Yeah, like it's fine. I'm looking forward to, like, when I finish the demo, they give you the option to go back through it again with one of the different, like, Titan equip or whatever. One of the different
the icon abilities.
Yeah. Which I didn't do. But, like, you know, because I'm assuming it's just fire, rock, and wind or water, or whichever other one it is. I like, look, a lot of these games I think can sort of be made or broken by their systems, and then personalizing the combat to suit your style, or at least like having a bit more influence over the abilities and where your stats go. I think will be a larger factor than just like it feels okay. I didn't love.
It's funny because you look at the ability menu, the like ability wheel, and like it takes a lot of points to like do anything on that wheel. You know? Like it makes me wonder whether it's the kind of thing where it's like you can only unlock half of the things on this in this by the end of the game.
Well, like there's like a setting that you can turn on called Final Fantasy mode, or maybe it's a difficulty. I don't remember.
There's like a story mode and an action mode or something.
Yeah, but there's a third one which they announced recently called Final Fantasy mode, which is the ability for you to get to level 100 and for you to craft the ultimate weapon. Those are the two explicit things that they said about this game, which I was like, so I'm not going to get everything when I play it unless I play it on this mode, or
that just sounds like hard mode.
It was a very odd thing to announce. I don't know. Like I wonder how much influence I'm going to have over my companions. Am I going to have a party, or is it just going to be me with characters rotating in and out? I don't know. It's weird. I don't love the actual moving around the world. It was kind of
like there's not that much to do, right? No, like when you're not fighting.
And look, it's not unlike Final Fantasy VII in that regard, where there's like you're not actually really doing anything unless you're fighting. Yeah. But I think that the moments in between battles were smaller, or at least had other things going on that it didn't matter. There was
and more like party dynamic stuff, right? Like
tons of dialogue.
Tifa and Aerith getting to know each other, and like a cutscene of like a path falling down, but they catch each other. And
like lots and lots and lots of dialogue between characters and world building and character building and all that stuff. Where there was like and you know the rapport between Clive and generic soldier A and B is not the most important thing in the world, but like
Bro 1 and Bro 2.
I think I actually needed something else in those moments, which just
like
wasn't
maybe
there.
He went with the Lord Commander or something.
But like just bring him along so that I've got someone who knows Clive to talk to him.
Yeah.
And don't call him Clive. What are we doing?
What's wrong with Clive and Jill and Joshua? What's the matter with that?
Who's the main character in Final Fantasy X?
Titus.
Yeah. Who's the main character in Final Fantasy XII?
No one, but Vaughn.
Right. And then we've got Cloud, we've got Lightning, we've got Squall, Noctis, Clive. Clive.
It is weird, isn't it?
That's just a man's name.
It is just a man's name, but to be fair, he's a man.
So, no, he's not a man. Cloud's a man. Now that's a man.
Cloud's such a baby man.
Yeah.
He's such a...
That buff twink.
He's such a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, look, I think it's good. It's not a demo that I think is actually going to knock people's socks off.
I've been seeing a lot of like YouTube comments and just people talking. People love it.
Okay, it's not going to be a demo that I think is going to sell the game to people that weren't already going to buy it.
Right. Like 7 Remake did for me.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Because if I'm not worried for Square Enix, but
Square Enix is worried apparently.
Look,
they don't know what
Square Enix always worried.
It's gone.
Yeah, they're worried about the fucking sky falling on their heads. But like I don't know. Like I hope it works out. The god battles are fun. I like doing big god battles. That's cool.
They go hard on those.
Yeah, that's the kind of like fantasy that I want. Give me show me something that makes human life feel insignificant in scale.
And like in the battle that they have at the start between Titan and Shiva, and it's just like they're there to fight the battle for those armies, but they're just they're ruining those armies. Like their troops, the other troops, like it just doesn't matter. Like they are collateral. Like they will wreck everything in their path. It's wild. Same with the Phoenix and the fire icon fight.
What's it called? Ifrit?
It's clearly Ifrit.
It's Ifrit, right? Yeah. With a lot of swearing.
Yeah, when they like go through the ground and they enter these like catacombs that are like only the size. It is like a whole underground city there that they demolish.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And the music honestly is
excellent.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It doesn't do the same level of like moving like Final Fantasy VII Remake's soundtrack is so wonderfully dynamic where like the Scorpion boss tank fight, for example, in the first chapter, like that boss has like 4 or 5 phases and the music has like 4 or 5 phases.
Yeah.
Sometimes it felt like the music didn't always ramp up with what was going on in the demo.
No, there was like a song playing.
Like you were in this scene and this file played.
Yeah.
And it's fine because the music's really good.
Yeah, it's great.
But it doesn't have that secret special sauce that 7 Remake does with how dynamic and connected it is. Yeah.
They swear a lot in this one.
They do.
There's so many
like when the
fuck.
Like when Benedicta walks out of that like that room and just yells out like you cock or something. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Because like they say shit a lot in 7.
Yeah.
But like, and I think they say shit.
I think there's a couple of F-bombs in 7 Remake.
I don't remember them, but like they say shit in.
I'm on the job. Hang on.
Okay, they say shit in 7 and they say it in 15. But like, there's a part where someone is like running. Oh, did you search Final Fantasy VII? Fuck.
I did.
Oh, Kerry, you don't look that up.
That was alarming.
No one zoom in on Kerry's glasses reflection as he did that. We'll get kicked off Twitch.
It was just Google. I didn't see anything. Just words. Just very alarming words.
Kerry looked at porn. There's a moment where one of the characters, I don't remember who it is like running through as like this fucking gigantic god is destroying the ground below him, and as he's running, he's just like saying fuck.
Oh yeah, it does happen. Yeah.
Like,
one of the yeah.
You just don't often get swearing like that in games, like you do in like GTA, and like, you know.
And that's almost to the point where like you get completely desensitized to it by then. Like,
yeah.
I kind of don't like how much swearing there is in that game.
Yeah, and like in Last of Us, it's always fucking or like fuck. It's always one, right? It's a TV show swear, as opposed to like someone is about to die, like, and they're terrified. Yeah.
When it's reserved for those moments, which I think is how it gets treated for 7 Remake for the most part. Apparently there is a couple of F-bombs at least
in 7.
This is a Reddit post disappointed by all the cursing in FF7 Remake. Because someone wants to play it with their 8-year-old kid, right? I was like, okay, sure. That's tricky. Yeah, no, then people are them misconstruing. I think that there may be 1 or 2 in there, but yeah, there's other like shits and stuff. But I remember when it came out, I remember I said at the time on this podcast, I was like, for 7, I was like, man, they're swearing and it's cool.
According to this game facts that I've got up here from 3 years ago, there is no F-bombs in Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, pardon me. Okay. But there's definitely crap and shit.
Yeah, shit, ass, and bitch is the thing that they say, apparently.
Streamers reacting to how Aerith says a swear.
Oh, here we go. Have you ever seen, we're just off topic now because we're sort of done talking. Have you ever been on IMDb's parents guide?
Parents Guide.
Parents
No,
Guide.
but you saying that, I already know what it is.
Yeah, it's a guide to every piece of anything in a film that could be considered like a thing that a parent might want to know before their child watches it, right? So there's
honestly valuable.
It's fine, but also it's community run, which means it's like ridiculous at some points, right?
Yes.
So there's different subheadings for like alcohol, drugs, and smoking, different one for profanity, one for violence and gore, sex and nudity, blah 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 blah. Someone here has just listed every swear word in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and like I'm just gonna go through the list, which is damn, hell, damn it, jackass, ass, dumbass, fart, shit, piss, crap, Jesus, goddamn, and goddamn it. Fart, they wrote. Fart.
Sam, when Sam went to their nan's place, they had to make sure they didn't say fart. Or I think bum was off the cards. I think that was too much.
There's so many. This is the kind of thing that you see on these parents' guides. One of Vincent's limit breaks monsters form is called Hellmasker, which is considered a curse according to the person who wrote this because of the word hell.
Oh, hell.
Yeah. And this is the kind of people that are writing the parents' guide for IMDb.
That's the thing, yeah. Like, I've seen some of those before, and like they're good for figuring out like trigger warnings for people as well. Like,
sure.
Like you can go there for that kind of thing. But yeah, then you see things like that. It's like, all right, next.
Yeah. Frightening and intense scenes. The music soundtrack by Nobuo Uematsu is known for the scary music themes.
No, it's not. It's just known for the music themes. It's all of it.
Jesus.
Won't somebody save our kids from Nobuo Uematsu?
I know.
What the fuck?
When the man in Rocket Town tries to tell a funny joke to Sid, Sid gets angry and kicks him back in violence and gore.
You get that far and you didn't see like Barrett's Gatling gun arm or Cloud's Buster sword? You seen Bahamut's like summon FMV? Like that dragon launches nukes out of its mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Yeah, I think if I had any one final thing to say on this, I wish the cutscenes ran at more than 30 frames per second, but also it seems to perform really well at 60 in performance mode, and I think the visuals are great. I love the particle effects on all of the like fire and ice and ground and all of that.
Yeah.
I think it's a really gorgeous game. And I actually really like Clive's like grown up design. I like his suit of armor and his sword and how it straps into his back. I think it's one of the cooler. It's like cool in a way where they're all designed in like a main Final Fantasy protagonist design kind of way, but this one looks a bit less like that, you know, where it's like no one else looks like Cloud and no one else looks like Barrett and no one else looks like Tifa. Like this just feels a bit more grounded, but also cool. Like grounded within the world.
Yeah.
But you don't see anyone else look like that. But I could imagine seeing someone else look like that.
I need more of a cast. I need to see who else is in this game. I wish they gave me some of that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how we go.
We'll see.
Very soon.
Very soon. So soon. We'll be talking about it next week because I will be playing it this weekend.
Yeah.
You cannot stop me. Okay, Jeremy?
I wasn't planning on
it. Don't try and stop me, Jeremy, because our friendship may not survive because you can't stop me, Jeremy. Okay? All right, that's enough of that weird bit. Let's end the show. Thank you so much for listening to the MiniMapCast, everybody. Oh, shoot. What's the? I think our next episode we have decided. Oh, I just remembered before I even looked at it. That's right, everyone. It is time for our subscription service SmackDown sequel.
That's if Nintendo don't drop a direct in between now and next week.
If Nintendo don't drop a direct between now and next week. We've been doing this the last few weeks, but yeah, our like scheduled topic is as a check-in on all of the subscription services to see how they're all faring. I might try and I did a bit this week, but I'll try and check in with the N64 and Game Boy Advance offerings to, tee those up, because they didn't have those when we did this last time. And yeah, we'll also look at how Sony's service is shaped up now that it's a year old, how Game Pass is now that it's still so clearly the veteran, and look at all their new things. So compare them all together and see how they feel. I'm very much looking forward to that. Our first subscription service SmackDown last year was a really great discussion. So yeah, looking forward to see how we feel about all of those things next week. If you want to make sure you don't miss an episode, like we said at the top of the show, you can follow us on all of the social medias at MiniMapAU. You can follow us individually as well. Jeremy, where can they follow you on Twitter?
At Obi1Jez.
You can follow me on Twitter at KJPalmer_24. And you can find everything else Minimap related on minimap.com.au, including Jeremy's Dredge review that we mentioned before, other things in there. My Final Fantasy VII Remake review is up on that side as well. There's all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, it's all on minimap.com.au. For those of you that are live with us on Twitch, stick around. We're going to start the post show. For those of you listening later, make sure to give us those oh-so-tasty 5-star ratings. It helps out a lot. And consider joining us next week for the live show. It's a good time. Lastly, if you wanted to and you were able to support us on Patreon to help keep the mics and lights on, you can do that by heading on over to patreon.com/minimapau. And for $5 you'll get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, as well as some more benefits, all while helping us out greatly. Yeah, that's it for us. Have a good week, everybody. Clive out? I don't know.
Clive out.
Clive out. Because I said call me Clive.